We're going to do the final touches on this little sassafras box. One of the things I want to do is install this little brass pull. I'm just going to put a piece of masking tape down temporarily, and I can measure the exact center of the box this way without marking on the box itself. And then I can mark this way where I want the pull to go. So right there is where I want to drill my hole. Okay, I'm going to use the pull itself to gauge my depth on how deep this needs to go. I want to go just a little deeper than the length of the shaft on the pull, and the reason is I'm going to use epoxy glue to hold it in place, and the epoxy will just kind of fill that void. I'm going to take off my tape. I think that'll be real attractive. I'm going to take the pull out because I'm going to have to set it on its front edge while I install the hinges. I need to have some spacers in here, so I'm taking a folded over business card on each side. And if I didn't put that space in there and I put this hinge on the back, if there were any tension in it, it would make the lid not want to close at the front edge. Now I'm going to take a rubber band and I'm going to hold everything in place while I lay the hinges on. The first thing is figuring out exactly where they go, and if I put a little piece of tape on at 2 inches and see if I like the way they look, and I could move them in at that point, or I could back them off a little bit. With many of your finer hinges, you have to cut mortises for the hinges to fit, and while they have wonderful features, these are just much easier to install, and so if you're a beginning box maker, this may be your best starting point. I'm going to put a little dab of glue with the glue gun on here to help me hold things in place while I do the final positioning of the hinge. So I'm going to use this little center punch to mark my first holes. Most of you probably have something like this in your workshop. It's a fairly inexpensive tool and very useful in marking things. And I can use it just by pushing in at the center. And if you deal with this one screw at a time, you know, you have a little opportunity to make adjustments in things. I'm going to put a common nail, round the head off of that so that it'll go in the drill easy. And one of the advantages of the nail is you can see that the shape of the nail is very close to the shape of the screw. And so it's going to actually start a little more easily. I can take the hinge off, peel the glue off of it because I have my holes marked. And I'm going to drill in. I take a little bit of beeswax. Nothing is more frustrating when you're using brass screws and to have one break off in the hole. And I'm using a handheld screwdriver. If you use a power drill on this, you certainly have increased the risk of it doing two different things. One of them is messing up the Phillips slot. The other is breaking off entirely, and neither one of those is a happy thing. But now I can proceed with my center punch or my awl, either one. And drill my pilot holes for those. So each one gets a beeswax. Soap might work. Many carpenters use soap. There's the last one. So now I get to peel out the cardstock and remove the rubber bands. And I'm glad I remembered to align my grain first because it'd be real easy to get confused at that point. It will go all the way back like that, so I'm going to put a little lid support in it that will hold it at just the right angle. Okay. So now I'm ready to mix up some 5-minute epoxy and push my pull in place. And I have a finished box.